Okay, that was quite the music. Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Karyn Alexandria and I am your moderator for today. And let's start with okay. Now where were we? That was quite the music. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Karyn Alexandria and I am your moderator for today's event. And before we begin, please let me in- please let me introduce to you Hey Youth. So what is Hey Youth? Hey Youth is a non-profit organization focused on education sector in Indonesia. We started by teaching underprivileged children in Sarimulya village, South Tangerang by recruiting young volunteer teachers on 15 October 2018. During COVID-19, we started having online seminars by inviting guest speakers from all over the world. We believe that young generation needs to get some inspiration from other young people who have achieved what they want to achieve and self-development platform to unleash their potentials and prepare for Indonesia golden age in 2045. So, what is our vision and what is our mission? Our vision is becoming an international organization concerned about education, supporting the government to educate education to any social classes, supporting sustainable development goals 2030, number 4, quality education, preparing young generation to face demographic bonus in 2045. Our mission is to is teaching mathematics, science, and English to children and teenagers every weekend, holding local and international seminars with Indonesian diaspora, subject matter expertise, or international contributors, building book clubs to discuss our current read related to local and international issues. After 5 years, we have we have contributors and volunteers from 11 countries. We have guest speakers from 11 countries, that is Australia, Taiwan, Thailand, Germany, Singapore, China, England, Ukraine, Bangladesh, and Japan. And also, there are volunteers from global volunteers and local volunteers, that is from the country England, China, and Malaysia, as well as 20 local provinces. Our programs include teaching online to elementary school students and high school students, organizing seminars with Indonesian diaspora, Indonesian subject matter expertise, or change makers from different countries, organizing book club discussion charity that is collecting donation, e.g., clothes, books, or even money given to children who are in need. And lastly, our motto is the best kind of people are those who benefit others. And now, please welcome our guest speaker for today's agenda, Christopher Enu. He is a deputy country coordinator from the Global Youth Parliament, country representative for Commonwealth, Youth Peace Ambassadors Network Ghana, Ghana member UNESCO Global Youth Community. In today's presentation that is entitled The Role in today's topic that is titled The Role of Young People in Sustaining Global Peace and Security.
Hello, Karyn.
Hello, Christopher.
Am I audible?
Sure, the stage is yours. Oh, no, the time is yours.
Thank you very much to all our participants that are in this all-important forum. So I'm Christopher Enu. I'm an educationist, a peace advocate, and a youth activist. Currently, I'm the country representative for Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassadors Network. What we do basically is to help upscale peace-building efforts, particularly in the Commonwealth of Nations. Everyone here knows the Commonwealth is made up of 56 countries. So young people play a pivotal role in making sure that all these countries, there is social cohesion, there is inclusion, and there is respect for diversity. Basically, that is what we do in helping all these countries upskill their peace building efforts. So we move on to what I want to talk about today, the role of young people in sustaining global peace and security. And I would want the one in charge of the slide to be helping me alongside. If the slide is ready, you can help me out.
Okay, then please, moderator for the slide. Thank you. Please continue, Enu.
Okay, so first of all, we look at the preamble. When we say the role of young people in sustaining global peace and security, it is a critical topic because the world that we currently live in is made up of a huge number that we can say they are young people. And in that sense, it behoves on us to do everything within our power to make sure that young people are really at the center stage of if young people are. And in that set, we have a rule, we have a duty to our respective countries and to the globe at large to do everything within our power to make sure that this is done. So first of all, I move on to the presentation preamble. The slide is still not ready, so I'll read a little bit of what I have here so that we can move on with it. So the role of young people in sustaining global peace and security is crucial and multifaceted. A young individual represents a significant portion of the world's population and hold immense potential to drive positive change in conflict prevention, peace building, and significant efforts. They bring fresh perspectives, innovative ideas, energy to address complex global challenges. Then we move on to since the adoption of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace, and security in December 2015. It has been hailed as the first of its kind to recognize young people as meaningful drivers of change through its explicit encouragement of youth leadership at all levels of conflict prevention and resolution. So what I would say about this is that the United Nations Security Council resolution is the primary document that guides peace and security globally. In fact, in that particular document, it makes room for young people participation when it comes to conflict resolution and conflict management. It is in that same respect that we want young people to come on board when it comes to this particular important discussion that we are having right now. So young people play a crucial role. It is the first of its kind as a EU peace and security document to recognize that we cannot go on as a universe or as a globe on our own accord, neglecting the pivotal role of young people in addressing some of the challenges that affect the world. For example, if you go to lower middle income countries, or you go to countries that are a little bit prone or conflict affected areas, you could see that most of the times it is the elderly that takes up the responsibility of trying to manage situations that causes upheaval, that causes conflict. But we as young people, they can't do without us. We have a pivotal role. There is no way that the globe would know peace if they do not actively involve and do not ask of the opinion of young people in getting conflict, in getting misunderstanding, in getting upheavals resolved. You cannot overlook the role of young people. If you go to every country in the world, young people account for a greater number of the population. So our involvement will ensure that the world is as safe as we want, and that issues when it comes to conflict, issues that comes to misunderstanding, issues that comes with disunity are all resolved, and that we can live peacefully in a world that there is respect for humanity, there is respect for divergent views, and there is global unity. So I'll move on to my second slide. So the roles of young people in sustaining global peace and security, we could look at it in a lot of ways. One of the ways I would want to talk about is that young people are supposed to be promoters of diversity and inclusion. This is a very crucial topic or an important point that I've raised now. We have to be promoters of diversity and inclusion. What I'll say about this is that some young people, if it is not their particular environment, it is not their particular way of doing things, it is not their tradition, I would say, it is not what they are used to. They don't give any room to be able to understand different cultures, to be able to embrace different cultures. All what they do is that if it is not what I'm used to, I'm not going to give room. But you know what? If we young people are able to accept different kind of cultures, different ideas, different opinions, and that we are able to bring everyone on board, irrespective of the race of the person, irrespective of the age of the person, the creed of the person, more importantly, the gender of the person. If we are able to bring everyone on board, I'm sure that a lot of tensions that arise in nations, a lot of injustice, and a lot of many other things that affect the well-being of the peace of the globe. I'm sure some of these things will be curtailed or will be brought to a close, because the more you give room or you give ear to understand, to embrace different opinions, different cultures, the more there can be that kind of peaceful coexistence that will exist between one person and the other, and more broadly between one country and the other. There should be that room for dialogue. There should be a room for a common ground that always we can pull everyone along. Most importantly, as the world is growing, is developing, we need that kind of room. We need that kind of platform for everyone to feel belong, so that there won't be any kind of social tension arising, and it will help promote harmony. It will help build resilience against extremism and against violence. It is very, very important as we move on as young people. We cannot continue in the path of division. We have to be people who understands inclusion, who are open to accept divergent cultures. Me, for example, I would say that I am very, very open. I am very, very accommodative of different cultures, because that is the only way you can assimilate better. That is the only way you can relate better in any environment you find yourself. You learn more, you grow more as a person, and you are able to interact, you are able to go about your normal duties, and that you be at peace with everyone. So we as young people, let's try to be promoters of diversity and inclusion. So I'll move on to my next point. My next point is that we as young people must be educators of, and advocates for human rights. We must be educators and advocates for human rights. Young people in this age, we have to take up the mantle of sensitizing our peers and our community. One of the most powerful tools we have as young people is the ability to bring together, for us to get the kind of audience that we want. If you are young people and you take up such important roles or such important duties, the elderly really give ears to everything you say. So as in a world that is revolving a lot, and that tensions are escalating each and every day, it is our duty as young people to do everything within our power to educate the community we find ourselves, to educate our peers, other young people, to educate our parents. I keep on saying this. Every corner that you find yourself as a young person, you would have to make sure that you brighten that particular area. What do you do? What others have not done? What the challenge is, you take it on board. Young people mustn't see problems. Young people must see challenges. And we must know that in that challenges, it is loaded with a lot of opportunities. So we as young people have to take advantage of some of these things, identify problems within our community, and try ways within our own accord to try and find lasting solutions to this problem. And so we have to be people that take it upon ourselves that we will be educators, we will be advocates for human rights. Human rights is a very sensitive topic. You must know that just as we all have our rights and we want it to be respected, we don't also have to infringe on the rights of others. Some people are ignorant to this aspect. So the more rights are being trampled upon, are being infringed on, the more there is room for chaos and disorder. So we as young people have to take it upon ourselves. So we have to be peace ambassadors in our communities, in our various mosques, in our various churches. Every place you find ourselves, we should be an embodiment of peace. You should try to educate people the more about the rights of the citizenry. It is very, very important. Some people, though, are ignorant. They know of it, but will try to trample upon the rights of others. But that doesn't stop us as young people to speak to these people, to try to educate them. The more you speak to them, the more they come to the realization and understanding that this is a critical topic that we have to pay ears to. So they will listen to you and they will do everything possible they can to make sure that the infringement on the human rights of others is also being brought to a halt. Some are also not ignorant. Some also do not know at all. They do not know about their rights. So each and everyone has rights that the person has to be enjoyed. Some are enshrined in the constitution of various countries. Some are also natural rights that must be enjoyed. So it is our duty as young people to sensitize our communities the more, sensitize our peers, wherever we find ourselves. Let's try to talk to people about the reason why it is important to make sure that we respect the rights of others. If we are able to do this, the more, I'm sure some of the misunderstanding that is making the world a place that is not very inhabitable, that is making the world to be a place of chaos. We would all do our bit as young people to curtail this. And I would say this, prosperity won't be fair, won't be kind to us as young people if we sit on the fence, if we fold our arms and watch the world go through the kind of troubles, the kind of misunderstanding, the kind of chaos that the world is going through currently. Prosperity would really question us. So we really have to sit up as youth. We have everything within our mind to change the world. Let's try to help each other, empower each other, do everything within our own accord to make sure that on our own, we are contributing to a peaceful and a more sustainable world. Let me move on to my next slide. Okay, so the next point I have here is that we as young people, we must try to be promoters of inclusive participation. We must try to be promoters of inclusive participation. So we as young people have to advocate that we must take our place when it comes to decision making. A lot of times, and in most countries, what I personally have realized is that we make a lot of decisions not taking into account young people, not taking into consideration the needs, the wants of young people, their welfare. We do not take into account all of this. So it is on us as young people to advocate and take our place when it comes to discussions that borders on the progress of the globe, the progress of our nations, and more importantly, on matters that affect us directly, our well-being directly. We cannot continue to keep quiet as young people. We cannot continue to sit down and watch aloof as the world is being brought to a stage of disorderliness. We must rise up as young people and do everything we can to make sure that that particular trend changes. We can. We are people that when we get up, when we raise our voice, it really goes far. If you're a young person listening to me now, and you've ever doubted your ability, your potential, there is something unique in every young person. Yes. If there is chaos right now, it is women, young people, children that suffers the most. If you get this kind of understanding, you would know that there is really a core, there is really a kind of a duty on us as young people, not to keep quiet, but to talk, to advocate, to do everything within our power to make sure that certain issues that are going well in the group changes. You can't tell me that you are making policies, programs that affect directly young people, and you would not ask of our opinion. You will not ascertain our needs and wants. That is very, very wrong. In most countries, that is the trend. And we must do everything possible within our means to make sure that the trend is reversed and the right thing is done. You go to some countries and their national youth authorities, that is supposed to be that particular arm or organ advocating for the well-being of young people. You will see that someone that is way above youth or can't be classified as a young person is the head of that organization. Will he be able to understand what young people are going through, the problems of young people? No. We cannot continue to let that particular trend go on. Let's rise up as young people. Let's speak truth to power and make sure that some of these abnormalities are corrected. The more we promote inclusive participation, the more room it creates for us as young people to be able to operate. In our parliament, for example, various parliaments in the globe, we as young people have the duty to make sure that we remind those in power, the power bearers, that in this age and time, in any country you go, at least if it is possible, most or a number of the seats in the House of Parliament be reserved for young people. Yes, you can't go to a parliament and a parliament numbering about 200, you only find about 10 young people in there. It's a problem. Sometimes I see that it is not the young people who are not interested in participating in the processes that leads to democracy in various countries. It is the platform, it is the opportunity that is not given to young people. So we have to continue in our advocacy and try to speak to a lot more young people. If you are here, I will urge you, if there is any way or form that you can contribute to democratic processes through election in any way possible, let us try to arm ourselves, take the center stage, and participate. We have to participate. We cannot let ourselves down and allow old people, people that do not understand what we are going through, our needs and our wants, to be the people that will continue taking decisions for us. That is why young people continue to suffer. We must change that ordeal. So we must all live up to the expectation and make sure we are counted. The next thing that I will talk about is that young people have to utilize technology for peace. That is one of the rules currently that we have to take up on board. We have to utilize technology for peace. I would say here that now technology has become very, very powerful with our mobile phone and with other devices that at the click of a button, it is able to go very far. And that is the medium or channel that a lot of young people operate. It is on us to use that particular medium or platform to advocate a lot more for peace. I would say here that peace begins with you and I. Peace begins with you and I. You playing your part as a young person, I playing my part as a young person globally. That will help maintain or sustain global peace. If I'm doing my part and you are not doing yours, there will be a hole somewhere that will need to be filled. And that is where it gives room most at times for people to take advantage and cause a lot of chaos. Let's try to play our roles very well. Let's try to be people that really understand the importance of the world's peace. When we do that, that is when the world will also know peace would also be secured, just as we as young people, we wanted to be able to go about our normal duties. I would say that you as a young person, every kind of platform that you have, every technological tool that is at your disposal, please use it very well. One of the things that I am advocating strongly about is that misinformation. If you can't verify the source of an information that you get, please and please again, if the authenticity is not known to you, please and please again, do not post it. We can give a lot of example of misinformation, disinformation that has really caused a lot of chaos that has really brought a lot of conflict in a lot of countries. And it is about time that we do away with a lot of these things. So as young people, just as we are charged to make use of technological tools in promoting peace, we must also be mindful of the other way that can cause these disadvantages, that can cause a lot of unfortunate incidents and bring a lot of conflict. We must look at that. We must stop misinformation. And we must also pay a critical attention to hate speech. If you know this particular thing I'm about to post or put out there, when the other person sees it, he wouldn't like it, and it will bring about disagreement. First of all, I'll encourage you that do not post it. Hate speech is one of the things that is really bringing a lot of troubles. It's understanding and disagreement. We must do everything within our power as young people to make sure that hate speech is curtailed. So we must begin to make sure that we utilize technology the more. We utilize it the more. For example, if you go to Facebook, that is where a lot of young people are, in my opinion, currently. You can begin to preach about peace. You can begin to talk about peace, the need for unity, the need for global sustainability. You can talk about all this there. And I'm sure Facebook is one of the platforms that have a wider reach. So the more you are able to preach this there, not only that, all the social media platforms that we have, the more we are able to preach about peace on these particular platforms. Because of the reach it has, a lot more people will be able to see some of these advocacy and be able to come to the realization that they also have a role to play when it comes to the sustainability of global peace. They all have a role to play, and they will begin to think about some of the things they can do on their own to make sure that their particular countries, their respective societies and communities are also a place that is peaceful, are also a place that there is social cohesion, are also a place that is devoid of hate speech, are also a place that is devoid of all other things that bring the peace of communities and society into disrepute, and that we are all embracing each other and unity is prevailing. So that is that. We really have to try our best in that respect. So the next thing I'll talk about is that young people have a duty, have a responsibility to be peace mediators and negotiators. I would say this: we have a duty to be peace mediators and negotiators. You go to a lot of countries and you see that most of the chaos that arises or happens, they are caused by young people. Whether their respective opinions are taken into account or they are not taken into account, that might have caused that. Young people mostly are the causes of some of these unfortunate incidences of global crisis. And I would say here that that particular trend or that particular way, we as young people have a chance to begin to erase that particular mindset that other people are carrying. We must speak out unavoidably. Nobody must stop us to speak out. In that same way, it shouldn't be as a result of young people standing up that will bring global conflict. Instead, you should rather try to exploit or rather try to be people that are mediated. For example, you go to a lot of countries, a lot of communities that are conflict. You as a young person, you would have to stand up, be the middleman, and try to make sure that between all the parties involved in that particular disagreement, you speak to all of them and that peace prevails. You must be a mediator. You shouldn't be the one being behind perpetuating that kind of a misunderstanding. You should go in the middle and try to resolve issues. What we are doing currently in Ghana is that just as we are approaching elections, we as young people, we are training other colleagues of us, other young people. And what they are going to do is to be peace mediators. We are not saying that there should be misunderstanding as we go to the polls or goes to. It's a democratic process. But just as we are human beings, some of these things can arise, misunderstanding can occur. We are trying to speak to a lot of young people that in case they go to some of these polling centers and any misunderstanding occurs, they have to be the middlemen, speak to all the parties involved and try to calm situations down. The more young people get the understanding of this, speak to their colleagues, and when there is misunderstanding, get involved and make sure there is peace. The more the world or societies that we find ourselves in will also embrace what young people are putting forward or are bringing on board. Just as we are saying that young people must speak up, we also have to make use of negotiations. It is not always that young people have to hit the street to demand what is ours. In certain situations, if you have leaders that are open, that are receptive, that give ears to views, you as young people have to use these two very well. You have to negotiate with them, make sure that every particular need that young people are expecting or are requiring, you make sure that you make use of this particular tool very well. You negotiate and make sure that the cake, you also have your share. Or when it comes to decision making, young people are also consulted and their views are really taken into consideration. And so let's make use of this particular tool very well. Because young people, we bring a lot of fresh perspectives, a lot of fresh ideas, innovative ways of changing decade-long problems, decade-long situations, because we understand global trends or current trends better than any particular group of persons do. That is why we have to really make use of some of these tools that we have. It is our role, it is our duty, it is our responsibility to be peace mediators and negotiators. It is not only the duty of our respective peace councils to be taking on some of these responsibilities. I know they are mandated by law, but as young people, the onus also lies on us that we do some of these things, we play our parts. The hand of one person, as we say in a Ghanaian proverb, cannot be sufficient to close the eyes of God. We all have to get involved. No matter where we find ourselves, we all have to get involved in making sure that the world becomes a better place for you and I. I'll go to my next slide, and that'll be young people have to engage in international solidarity. We have to collaborate with other youth from different countries and different cultures to make sure that we exchange ideas. It is very, very important. There are lots of young people from different countries that have ideas that are changing the world. Young people, we have to be receptive, we have to be accommodative, reach out, engage, exchange a lot of ideas. There must be room for that particular kind of dialogue between young people from different countries. We mustn't limit ourselves to only the knowledge we know, because the knowledge of others might be that particular kind of game changer that you as a young person is looking for in your country to drive positive change that will in turn lead your country to a sustained peace and security. It is in that vein that we as young people have to get that kind of connectiveness. Let's try to engage ourselves the more, whether it is conferences that we meet, whether it is workshop, whether it's webinars just like we are doing now. We all exchange ideas as young people because no one on earth is an epitome of wisdom. What you know, what I know, the more we bring all of these things together, the more we grow in ideas, the more we grow in our submissions towards the achievement of global peace and security. We all have to continue on that path and make sure that we achieve what we are looking for as young people. We cannot let our guards down. The world is looking up to us. And if there is any particular kind of chaos or misunderstanding, we are the people that will be at the heart of it. We would suffer, young people, women, and children. So let's not continue to sit on the fence, remain unconcerned, and leave it all to global leaders to battle it out on our own. We also have a role to play. And like all what I have mentioned now, if you're able to bring all these on board, I'm sure we'll be able to chart a path onto global peace and security. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anu, for the time and the insight sharing regarding this very sensitive and yet important subject. So it is very, if I can conclude, it is very important for us to be both med- mediators, negotiators, and also the one that initiates the social movement, because it is important for us, young generation, to be involved in activism in both politics and securing peace for our world, correct?
Sure, it is very, very important that we involve ourselves, just like I have mentioned. Some of these things are happening globally because young people are not taking our place when it comes to um, democratic processes in the globe. You go to a lot of countries, and up to now, not only in the House of Representatives or in Parliament, mostly in other very key sensitive positions that are involved in decision making with respective countries and in the globe. You will not find young people in that particular positions. We can talk about a lot of things being the opportunity for young people to take up. That is there. That is why we must continue to advocate for young people and for us to be given the opportunity to take up these particular roles. It is in that vein when there are opportunities that young people must take advantage of when it comes to election into their various parliaments, because these are organizations or institutions that take key or critical decisions for countries. Young people must begin to be interested. A lot of people would say that, oh, me, I'm not interested in politics. But I would say that as a young person, we all must begin to get the understanding that the more we come to the realization that our countries, we are the future, the more we would be very quick to come to the realization that we have to take on roles such as this. We must not leave it to people who do not understand the well-being of young people that do not understand the needs of young people. We have to take center stage, be at the forefront of looking for and promulgating policies that changes the well-being, that changes the circumstances that young people find ourselves currently in the. We have to be interested. And if there are conferences and other webinars, other exchange programs, young people have to play an active part to make sure that we are doing our best to make sure that we are sustaining global peace. Thank you.
Okay, that's a very lengthy and a very meaningful answer. And right after that, we have a question from Kiki. That is to So right now we will be moving to Q&A, that is questions and answer. And we have our very first question of the session from Kiki. That is, you said that a technology application that can be utilized by young people to create a peaceful place and combat online discrimination is by using uh, Facebook. But in Indonesia itself, young people now rarely use Facebook to socialize and only use Instagram. What hashtags and campaigns on social media do you think play a role in spending peace on Instagram and Facebook, and how can they be optimized? A very interesting question from Kiki. Enu, please.
Thank you very much. I would say that I only used Facebook as a reference. It might differ from countries. Just as she rightly mentioned that in Indonesia, a lot of young people use Instagram more. So that is also an avenue, a platform to propagate the message of peace. And I would say that currently there are lots of hashtags that is promoting peace. Currently from United Nations, a lot of the hashtag peace currently there. Say it is not that we would have to search for hashtag somewhere to be able to join. We as young people can also start up something like that. So there is this particular piece quote that you have. You can create a hashtag on your own that is trying to preach um, the importance of social inclusion, the importance of world's peace, the importance of unity. In that sense, the more that particular trend is going on, a lot more young people would be interested to get involved. And a lot more people would also see why there is a need for the world's peace to be sustained. So that is that. We can also start on our own, but there is some currently, a lot of them. When you go to Commonwealth Peace Ambassadors Network on Instagram, for example, there are hashtags there that we are currently promulgating or spreading out there that say no to discrimination, say no to hate speech. These are all hashtags that we are currently using as a network. So you could as well join, or you could as well create something innovative on your own as a young person and try to make sure that together we are all doing our bit to make sure that we promote the need for peace in the world. Thank you.
Okay. What a wonderful answer to a wonderful question. And with that, I want to say thank you to all of the participants for the enthusiasm for today's agenda. Thank you to Anu for his insight and time sharing this very important subject of matter. And now we will say thank you to our media partners that has supported this agenda for today. Oh, and also we can uh let's take a photo before we end our session. Let's take a photo together for for as a as a closing, and also I will be saying thank you to the list of media partners that have supported us today. Okay. One, two, three. Say cheese. There we go. And the list here is oh oh yes, and of course, one more thing. There will be a certificate for the speaker to show appreciation
Thank you very
to
much.
show appreciation for your time and for your support. This
Thank you very much.
certificate is presented to Christopher Enu for his time and also insights regarding the topic the role of young people in sustaining global peace and security. And lastly, our media partners, that is all 13 of them, Siaga.id, Sandika.community, Youth in Space, Harria Zone, Pranala Jiwa, Kasih Balik, Generational Tangerang, Do Teens, Youth Pet Indonesia, Suara Peduli Ceria, Divija, PsyCube, and Trash Ranger Indonesia. As the name, as the representative of Hey Youth, I would like to thank these media partners for collaborating and spreading the information regarding today's agenda. That's all for me, Karyn Alexandria, signing out, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we have one last agenda that I seem to forgot. That is taking photos all together. So let's do this one more time. 1, 2, 3, and cheese. There we go. That is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your enthusiasm and for your time and effort for today. You may leave the guest. You may leave the. You may leave the Zoom room. Okay. Oh boy.